All right. Happy Win-Trapreneur Wednesday. Happy Win-Trapreneur Wednesday, folks. Let's get everything set up here. Give me a second while we get it all aligned. You know how we get down. You know how we roll. You know what we do around here in the Move Swiftly world. As consistent of a person as you will ever meet, as consistent of a brand as you'll ever meet. This is how we roll. All right. So mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Got a couple stories. Got a couple stories to tell you all. You know how we again. You know how we get down, man. We don't play around. Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Move swiftly.
All right. Sure, mic check. Yes, 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 yes. All right, we're good. All right, we're good. Happy Wednesday, folks. Happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday. Let me just introduce myself really quick before we get started today on Win-Trapreneur Wednesday. My name, especially if you're new to the channel, my name is Juan Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, very soon to be 6-time published author and educator. I created this whole brand, this whole framework, this whole mindset, this whole concept, this whole way of life that's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with businesses and business owners so they have a staff and a group of employees that moves as efficiently as a championship high school or youth football team. That's what we do in a nutshell around here. And we have something very special that we do, a concept, a code, a way of life that's all about being a win-trapreneur. All right, that's a term that yours truly came up with. And every single Wednesday for over a year, we've been dissecting what exactly it takes to be a win-trapreneur, how to develop the win-trapreneur mindset, and what exactly is a win-trapreneur. And today we're going to be discussing it from the lens, because every week now, we're going to discuss it from the topic, right? The topic and the theme and the things that we've been discussing all week are the best ways to start a conversation. And that started, in fact, because I'm actually wearing this shirt that I'm wearing, and I can't tell you I planned it. I'm always wearing something with the plus LY stuff, but I just happen to be wearing the same shirt that I was wearing when I came up with the topic a week and a half ago, because I went to church by the Glades. It was a 6 p.m. service, and somebody saw this logo and they asked me if I worked for a preschool. And even though I do teach at a school, this isn't the logo of the school, but it aligns, and it got me thinking about how to start conversations and where conversations come from and the nonverbal things and what you pick up on people. So it turned into a whole week's long full of content about how to start a conversation. And given the work experience and the things that I've lived through in my life in terms of work and what it is I've done, there's a lot of stories and a lot of things I can go with when it comes to that. So we're going to be dissecting those in 4 simple ways. In 4 stories. And when I worked at Lids, when I worked at Washington Sports Club, when I worked at LA Fitness, and when I worked at Orangetheory Fitness, all 4 of those situations required me to start conversations with total strangers, and that turned into an actual result. So I'll walk you through that, because that's another key element about being a win-trapreneur, or a win-trapreneur is also can be looked at as someone that's just a valuable employee, someone that actually adds value to their workplace. And it's based on who you can bring in that's brand new. You will not add value to anybody if you don't have the ability to go out and speak to a total stranger and convince them that there's something you have that they need and they want and that they're going to pay for. That is a skill, and that's something you need to develop if you want to add any value whatsoever into whatever it is you're doing. All right, so we're going to be discussing all of that today. Let me get through a few announcements first, and then we're going to go from there. All right, so first and foremost, business owners, pay attention. If you have not yet, make sure you go to free guide.makeitmove.com. I create a very easy to understand 10-step process for you to have and benefit from to get the most out of your staff, to make it so you're at least thinking on the right track and getting the ball rolling. We work from a very, very, very simple formula here in the Move Swiftly world. It's number one, you got to establish your measurables. Number two, you got to create a professional distance. And then you add those two, you got to find the right balance for both of them. And that will create the productive environment that you both need and want. The issue with a lot of you business owners is you don't have a productive environment because the measurables aren't established and the professional distance is not there. All right. You need those two things. That is very, very important. That's that's a way of starting. That's a way of starting to get where it is you're trying to get to. All right. Next thing, I do offer free boxing. West Palm Beach, Florida, stand up. All right. I'm not a native Floridian, but I'm starting to become I'm starting to get indoctrinated in the whole South Florida way of life. And one of the first things I learned out here in South Florida, given year-round sunshine, is you got to be in shape year-round. Year-round. They don't take months off. See, that's the thing. Growing up north in the Northeast area, there were times when it gets cold and people just kind of take those winter months off, and they don't really work out as hard. There's the excuse of not being able to get outside. There's none of that out here. You got to be in shape year-round, baby. Year-round fitness. So, again, if you're interested, I do offer boxing lessons. I've opened it up for business. I do it for my church every 2 weeks, but if you're interested in doing it in a more serious, a more committed way, just hit the scheduler right there that you see on freeboxing.makeyoumove.com. It will do wonders for your mindset. It'll make you a more effective and a more valuable employee, given your ability to just get out, work out, really just get the stress out. All of that stuff takes a load off your chest. I've seen it personally, as you can see right there in the video. And if you are some of my favorite people to work with, at least professionally, and you're like, look, bump all that free stuff. I want to know what I got to pay for. I want to interject some of his energy into my staff, and you want to just pay for it right now. We love folks like that. We welcome those kinds of folks over here in the Move Swiftly world. All right. Simply go to makeyoumove.com, go shop now. You can buy books. You can, structure some sort of a payment plan to give me a workshop. The boxing lessons, all that stuff is available for you to purchase. And here it is right here. Just go to Innovative Teamwork to do all your research on me in terms of what it is you're going to be getting. Turn your business into a championship team. It is common knowledge that the best way to win in business or in life is by avoiding ways to lose. Whether you've just started a new business or you've been in business for quite some time, there's no getting around the need to hire or outsource certain elements of your organization so things can run as efficiently as possible. When you book your meeting with Aswan, he'll diagnose what the issues are with your current system and then strategically create a system in which will lead to a reduced amount of turnover or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. Boom, bang, smack, dabbity do. That's what we do around here, baby. All right, so let's get into the article today. Win-Trapreneur Wednesday, how to start better conversations. Lids, WSC, LA Fitness, and Orangetheory. So, like I mentioned in the intro today, all four of those organizations, Lids, they sell, sports caps, and I was big on wearing hats, as you can see. Well, first of all, let me walk you guys through a little bit this image right here, because just looking at it, just looking at this image, it brings back so many memories. And we've been discussing the best way to start conversations all week. And when you think about when you think about that image, I was a freshman in college. And as you can see, I had the fitted cap that got from Lids. I was with my boy Say. Shout out to Ron Say, because I was talking about him yesterday in terms of when we would go try to pick up women. The conversation, getting into the conversation with the girl was half the battle. So I spoke about him yesterday. And then when it comes to, Washington Sports Club, LA Fitness, when it comes to the fitness business that I come from, so much of it is about having healthy dialogue, because there are people who are coming from it from all walks of life. Things have happened to them in their past that, made it so they had to get out of shape. You got health situations. You got so many situations that are coming up based, based on life hitting them, that has caused them to, maybe fall off the wagon or become overly fit. Like sometimes I get accused of being addicted to running too much, and I start to put my health or put injuries, put myself at risk. So there's extremes on so many different levels that you have to have solid and quality conversations with fitness professionals and with people that are here to serve you. So all of this stuff, I mean, just looking at that and looking where I was at 19 years, no, I was 18. Yeah, right. This picture, I just turned 19 years old, thinking where I was at 19 years old. After that, I left Carson Newman and then went to go work at Washington Sports Club, where I learned the art of the conversations and all that. So just looking at that image is it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see how far we've come. So all right, so let's get into it. Welcome to another edition, reading directly from the article now for my podcast listeners. All right. Welcome to another edition of Win-Trapreneur Wednesday here on the Move Swiftly platform. Normally, I feature a specific person or dive into a personal story that ties directly into the principles of Win-Trapreneurship. But today, we're going tactical. This week's theme has been all about conversation starters. So I'm breaking down four real life examples that taught me how to confidently approach and connect with potential buyers. And for all the newcomers, what exactly is a Win-Trapreneur? Okay, so anybody that's new to the channel, new to my world, new to what it is I'm all about, let me just break down the definition of what a Win-Trapreneur is, all right? A Win-Trapreneur is someone with a strong entrepreneurial vision for their life and business, who's been fortunate enough to find a job that aligns with that vision. Let's get into the lessons, all right? Lids, number one, Lids. Oh, man, I love telling this story. I'm not even sure if I've told it publicly yet, but I'm going to tell it again. Lids, ask a question they can't say no to. Jot this down, folks. Ask a question that they cannot say no to. All right, that they cannot give they can't tell you no. This is a very, very important skill that you must develop. You have to learn to ask questions, especially, and we're all in sales, all right? So I don't want to hear the bullshit about, well, that's for salespeople. That's just a sales lesson. No, everybody is in sales. Every single person is in sales. You're selling yourself for something, all right? And the key is you have to ask questions that a person cannot say no to. As many of those as you can get out, the better of a chance you're going to get in getting the sale. I'm not sitting here telling you you're going to get every sale, but the better question is, can you ask more questions that a person cannot tell you no? And it makes it on their end that they have to kind of get uncomfortable explaining to you that they're not interested. So let me break down what I mean by that in this story. All right. So the summer before my senior year of high school, I applied for a job at Lids. It's the go-to spot for authentic fitted caps. This was a dream opportunity. I rocked fitted caps daily. So the thought of me working there, perfect. This is what I mean when I say, so you see this hat right here, you get it at places like Lids. And you see it's the Washington Nationals. I'm from Maryland. Like I wore fitted caps actually, you know what? Just let me see if I can pull it up real quick while I have it here. So if you go to this is my college Facebook account. Like when I was back in the day, you'll see, let me see if I can find pictures of me. Hold on one second. That's my dad, by the way. Let's see. I don't know if I could know, man. It's so long ago. Yes, right here. So look at it. These were all right. So I'm gonna run you through these real quick because this is important. This is actually important. So all of these were my hats. All of these were my hats. This is the amount of everybody that's in these photos. They're all wearing my hats. Okay, all of these were my hats. All of them. This is us in college. All right. All of them are wearing my fitted cap. So here, all of them. My fitted caps. All right. That's how many hats I used to wear. So me working at Lids was something that was absolutely perfect. I go home, I'm like excited. I'm like, Ma, I got a job interview at Lids and this, that, and the third. So, this was when I first realized how much a mother takes pride in seeing their son develop, or how much any parent would take pride in seeing their kid develop and move into the working world and understanding what they're going to be doing for the rest of their lives and what they're going to be doing to make a living. So what happened was, I'll read it directly. Now, my mom helped me prepare for the interview and had me suited up in a shirt and tie and slacks. So before I continue, I got to give you some context on this. So before I go on the job interview, my mother goes and she goes into the closet and she pulls out it all. She makes sure I get a nice button-up shirt. She makes sure I get some nice slacks and puts some nice socks on and gets the shoes on and the tie, everything, like to the point I'm walking into Lids looking like I'm going to, interview for a damn banking job, right? So let me get to it now. So I get the Lids, and when I walked in, the manager of the Lids said, first of all, the manager said I had no clue I was scheduled, right? He didn't even realize I was scheduled. Eventually he figured it out. And what actually happened was the manager looked at me directly. He goes, "Man, you overdressed, dog." So again, my mother gets me already, and I'm going back and forth with her because I'm like, yo, I don't really fit. I'm not that dude. I'm a football player. I run around, walk around in shorts and t-shirts and flip-flops all day if I could. She's making it so I got suit on, tie on, and all that. And the first thing that the manager and the Lids manager, he's in khakis, a white tee, and a backwards hat, and he looks at me, and goes, "Yeah, you overdressed, dog. Come on, man, you interviewing for Lids." You ain't even in a situation where you're interviewing for some banking job, right? So, that's how it started off. And eventually it got worked out. It got figured out that I was scheduled to do the shadow interview at Lids or whatever. And then he told me to go do your thing, right? When I say go do your thing, he's like, look, I'm just going to have you go on the floor, try to sell a few hats and see what you can do and see if you're somebody that'd be a good fit. So the first customer walks in when it comes to him just kind of letting me go and create whatever I was going to create. The first customer walks in, and I do what I ask him a question that I normally get asked when I walk in the stores and kind of window shop. And I nervously say, "Hey, can I help you find something in particular?" And of course, the customer replied in, "No, I'm just looking," right? Think about the time you went into a store, you went to the mall and you were just looking around, and then the salesperson comes to you and say, "Are you looking for anything in particular?" You say, "No, I'm just browsing." Again, that is a question. That's the wrong question to ask, because that's something you can say no to, right? So as soon as I asked that, then that's when the manager pulled me aside and he dropped the gem. He dropped the gem that I still remember to this very day. He said, "Ask better questions. Ask them what their favorite team is or what they're into. Questions they can't say no to." That moment lit a fire in me. It changed my entire mindset. Ask the questions that invite answers. It's philosophy. It's a philosophy I use to this day in every sales interaction. So let me just give you an example as I go to the next story. By the time other customers, so just put you in that place now. The first customer walks in and I say, "Oh, can I help you find something in particular?" Right? And obviously they say no. So I get that advice from the manager. And then by the time, because I want to say I worked maybe like an hour or 2 hours. I can't even remember how long I was there. But by the time the other customers were walking in and I would see them browsing around about what hats they wanted to buy, I go in there, I say, "Hey, who's your favorite team?" Right? "Who's your favorite team?" "Oh, what's the play? What do you think they're going to do this year? How well did they do?" A bunch of things that I started to see just in the nonverbal, because let's say somebody was going and looking at some of the hockey hats, or let's say somebody was going to look at some of the baseball caps. Okay, who's your favorite team? Who's the player that you're looking forward to? How are they doing this year? And me and this customer just had a better conversation, which gave me an opportunity, right? An opportunity now to make a sale, because the conversation was more quality. Do you get my point now? Don't just walk in there trying to sell. Genuinely ask a question that makes it so they can't say no to that. That is a very, 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 very important skill that he dropped on me. And again, this is just somebody working at Lids and me being willing to learn from the folks that have done it before. That's a key element. All right. So number one, first story, again, ask a question they can't say no to. We got it. Make sure you jot it down. Next one, number two, WSC, let the class sell itself. This one was absolutely legendary. It was a sales associate, membership consultant. His name was Bubakar. Bubakar was just maniacal. I mean, he would make sure everybody signed up. He was not playing, and he was not giving no free memberships. He was not playing. You get your one free one, and then you pay it. You pay it. All right? He did not give a shit, right? So that was the first person I learned from when I had to move. So I had to move back home after a torn ACL, and that's when I got my first job with Washington Sports Club. So fast forward 3 years after an ACL tear forced me to leave school early, I was back home working at a local health club, Washington Sports Club. One of the best things I observed there was how a savvy sales consultant leveraged social proof. He'd hang around the front desk before yoga classes and casually ask, "Doing yoga today?" When members said yes, he handed them a flyer with a free week of yoga with his card stapled to it. Instead of pitching gym memberships cold, he let a current class and a peer's enthusiasm do the inviting. Lesson: don't start with the hard sell. Start with something warm, familiar, and already valuable to the person you're speaking to. All right, let me break this down. Let me break this down in context here, because that's an important element to what we do around here. All right. So here we are, Washington Sports Club, and this is when they were still in business. It's no longer in business now, but this is right here on Wisconsin Avenue, which is right it's kind of on the outskirts of Maryland and DC. It's Bethesda, South Bethesda. So it's right there. You take a couple miles and you're in DC. So it's a very, very lucrative area, very busy area. In fact, the gym was right underneath some condos that were right up. So people were living in the condos, and they put the gym right underneath it. So a lot of the people who lived in the condos would be members of the gym and all that kind of stuff, right? So Bubakar was just making a killing just off selling gym memberships, and it's all because the location had a lot of traffic, right? So one of the most popular classes, when you're talking about fitness and you're talking about people who sign up to gyms, one of the more popular things is yoga classes. A lot of people who are members of gyms, they go to the yoga class. So they're a member of the gym because they could take advantage of the yoga class instead of them actually going and signing up to a yoga studio where you're paying, I don't know, a couple $100 a month. You'll sign up to a gym where you're paying maybe 60 or 70 a month, and then you get to take the yoga classes whenever, right? So Bubakar knew that, the person who sells the memberships. So what happened was, he had a flyer of a free week of yoga, right? And right before yoga class, and I remember because I would check these people in to go, to obviously I was the front desk guy, so I would check these people in. He'd just stand right there at the front desk, and he'd see the people with their yoga mats coming into the gym, and he'd just sit there and ask and be like, "Yoga? You doing yoga? Okay, here, take a free pass, take a free week, bring a friend," right? Because that normally when you have yoga, you have people coming to yoga, they're going to go tell their friends about it. Bring a friend to yoga, and then he had his card attached to the free week of yoga, and then as they bring their friend, then you start creating referrals, and then they start coming to you, and then they sign up to the gym membership. They sign up to the gym, and he gets those sales. He gets the commissions on those. So I'm 19 years old, just taking this in okay, I like this. I like that. I love that, because you can see the appreciation, and you knew that if you like a yoga class, you're going to go tell your friends about it, and you and your friend are going to eventually sign up. That's what it's all. That's what it's about. Just letting the class sell itself. Letting the thing sell itself. You just be the person that is the bridge to get somebody else there. Sometimes it's really just about positioning. Sometimes it's really just about being in the right place at the right time and having the background knowledge to let certain things sell itself. This is why I was telling you guys yesterday, a lot of conversations, a lot of communication, so much of it, some more than you actually think, is actually nonverbal. It's nonverbal. It's simply about putting yourself in a position where you're asking the right question and you're just walking in front of traffic. It's very much similar to if you want to get hit by a car, go stand on the highway, stand in the middle of the highway, and eventually you're going to get hit. That can be the same way when it comes to having quality conversations. At some point you got to make it so you are in the middle of something that's going to be productive and conducive to what it is you're trying to get to. So with Boubacar, he knew he was trying to get gym memberships sold. So I'm going to stand right here while people are walking in to a yoga class, because I know it's going to get picked up. I know there's a lot of people walking in now. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So that's number two here. Number two is, listen, you have to put yourself in position to actually make a sale. All right. Number three, again, I have a fitness background. This is what we do. LA Fitness Energy Sales. Now, I'm gonna read it directly and then I'll get into it. So years later, I found myself at a low point. My minor league football venture, the Ocean City Sharks, had failed. I was broke, living out of my car, phone cut off, reputation shaken. All of these things actually happened, and I've actually spoken about these in detail. All right. Out of desperation, I walked into an LA Fitness looking for a job. The manager asked me during the interview, how would you start a conversation with a stranger? This was the interview, folks. This was the interview of me working a sales job at LA Fitness. All right. Walk in there again, nothing. Me and my mother, I was carpooling with my mother. I was absolutely in a effed up, like bad, down bad. All right. When I say down bad, I mean down bad, to the point where I would start talking about that. It'd be another hour will go by. But I walked into this LA Fitness, and the manager, Dupree, who I believe last I heard, he's actually a VP with the company now. So we're sitting just like this. And this first time I'm meeting him, we're sitting just like this. And he's like this. He goes, how would you start a conversation with a total stranger? How would you do that? And that was the interview. The interview that he gave me. That was actually the job interview, right? So he goes, how would you start a conversation with a total stranger? I shared what I used to do when I was building my team. The way I answered it, I was like, I'll ask about their shirt. I asked about their favorite team. I basically said a lot of the things that I learned when I did my little thing at Lids. My favorite team, simple. And he liked my answer. And he began walking me through his approach, right? So as I gave him my answer, it kind of got him going, because then he goes, okay, see, I like that. But see, what I do is, as a person that has sold memberships for LA Fitness, and he was talking about himself, he goes, I look at someone, I see how, okay, so you like to work out. Okay, so I see you move and you doing this. Do you know what the energy that he started bringing to a conversation made it so people were just drawn to his energy. They weren't drawn to LA Fitness per se. They were drawn to the person that was selling them the LA Fitness membership. Okay, because the person who was selling them the LA Fitness membership actually had energy as he was talking about the company. That is the key to the whole thing, because what happened was like to work out. All right. Let me read this directly, and then I'll get into the lesson. He liked the answer. He began walking me through his approach. So he started walking me through his approach. You like to work out. You got a nice body, right? And then he let me shadow his tours, where he sold memberships with unmatched energy. Lesson: your tone, your vibe, and your belief in the product are contagious. Energy is a conversation starter. Hear me. Energy is a conversation starter. Energy. I don't care what you're selling. If you are bringing some energy to whatever, I could be selling you this book. I could be selling you whatever it is. That doesn't matter. You bring some energy to what it is. It's like, man, this and this. You got to bring some energy. It's contagious. It gets a reaction out of a person, and it makes a person just want to hear more, because energy is what's going to make it so they're drawn to you. You just got to make sure you have the actual substance. Man, I just read this text message. I got you. Okay, you just gotta make it so you actually have the substance to match the energy of whatever it is you're saying. So I'll close you out with this example, because again, I was carpooling with my mother at the time. And this was like late at night when my mother had to pick me up. And this was like all day. So basically how it would work is my mother would just drop me off in the morning. And I told her, look, Drop me off in the morning and I'm going to figure it out throughout the day. So I was at LA Fitness from 5 a.m. in the morning all the way till whenever my mother got off work. And it just so happened she had picked me up when Dupree was actually there, and as it was late in the day, and again, both of us are kind of tired, I told Dupree, here's my mom, but she's not LA, she goes to Planet Fitness. And immediately his whole mindset flipped. It didn't matter how tired he was, it didn't matter the fact that we've been going at this all day. He goes, hey, you might as well make that switch, man, because we can't. So, and I'm telling you this because it's important that when you are going after something that is new, and when you are selling something that's going to be very important to a person's life, like fitness, like what their body's going to look like, how much it can help them in their day-to-day, you genuinely have to have some level of belief in terms of what you're selling. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've listened to him be on the phone with people who he's called, prospects that he's called, that told him that they were going to go to Planet Fitness instead of LA Fitness. And he's on the phone, like screaming at them, like, we can't keep everything that we got going on at LA Fitness if we just charge $10 a month and da, da, da. So it's important because competition out there is heavy. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of people out there, that are going to be doing similar work and just charge less. All right. So I know I'm running on time, but those memories, man, that takes me back to a place, man, that's crazy. But number four on the Win-Trapreneur story list today is Orangetheory. Start with curiosity. All right. Start with curiosity. All right. FOMO stands for fear of missing out. So there's a fear of missing out of approach. Let me put this banner up real quick. All right. So again, another crossroads. I first moved out here to Florida. I was in St. Petersburg. I had no one in St. Petersburg. Literally didn't have a place to stay. Didn't have a job offer. Didn't anything. Nothing. Nothing. The only thing I have is this sales associate job at Orangetheory Fitness. And in my mind, I'm like, well, at least I might meet some pro cheerleaders, stuff like that. A bunch of stuff that I was thinking in a different way. Okay. But let me I'm going to run you through this and then I'll close you guys out soon. So when I first moved to Florida, I worked at Orangetheory Fitness in St. Pete. Day one, this is the day one of me starting this new job as a sales associate. All right. I went prospecting with the guy who hired me. Shout out to Drew and his wife, Lindsay. I hope you guys are doing well. First person we met, all right, gave us her number. The first person so when me and Drew went out prospecting, the first person that we saw when we walked out of the Orangetheory gave us her number. Why did she give us her number? Okay, we're total strangers. She doesn't know us. We just walk out and we say something to her. All of a sudden, she's given us her personal contact information. Very, very, very important to ask yourself why this happened. Here's how it happened. He did the talking. He was the one that actually did the talking. And speaking of Drew, he actually worked high up in LA Fitness as well. So when I met him, it was almost like two people saying he worked at LA Fitness, and then the person that ran the entire Orangetheory franchise, he spent some time in LA Fitness as well. So it was almost like, match made in heaven, right? So why did the lady give us her number? Because he started with, have you taken your first free class yet? That was the question. So we're walking, and the first lady we see, he asked this question. It was something along, I'm paraphrasing when I say, have you taken your first free class yet? But it was something along the lines of, have you done this yet? And I can't remember if it was the first free class or whatever it was. It was some sort of script that he had memorized, right? When she said no, so this is what happened. When she said no, he launched into a brief science-backed pitch that made her feel like she was missing out if she didn't try it. So here's the issue. Here's basically what happened. When he asks her, okay, did you take your first class yet? And she goes, no. Then he goes into the science of what Orangetheory actually provides. So the selling point about Orangetheory is when you take a class, you wear a heart rate monitor. And as you're working out, you can see where your heart rate is. You can see then there's certain zones. So are you in the red? Are you in the orange? Are you in the green? Are you in the blue? And you're tracking your zones as you're working out. So the reason it's called Orangetheory is because you want to stay in the orange zone because you get the most splat points, and the most splat points you get rewards, yada, yada, yada. There's all sorts of scientific things and, numbers and formulas that they utilize because the tracking thing as they're working out, people get there, they get an email saying where their zones were, where their heart rate is, and all of that stuff is being tracked. So there's so much scientific evidence, so many things that you wouldn't know that you're just asking. You're bombarding her with this information that she doesn't know. So again, the natural feeling is she's just afraid she's missing out on something. All right. So the lesson is the answer to the question, the reason she gave us her number was because by the time Drew got through all the science and all the formulas and all the stuff that he was saying, she's now like, what the hell? What is this new that I know this? She's not scared that she's missing out on something. So the curiosity mixed with a little bit of that fear of missing out drove her instantly. It made it so she drove her interest instantly, and it made her feel like, okay, I got to give these two people my number so I can schedule my first class and we can get something done. All right. So final thought. I'll close you guys out after this. Mastering the art of talking to strangers. From the mall to the gym to corporate sales, there's one common thread. Learn how to talk to strangers. But don't just talk. Understand what makes your offer unique. Understand the timing, tone, and tactics that make your pitch land. And always remember, the goal is never to just make a sale. The goal is to connect in a way that builds something bigger. That's what being a Win-Trapreneur is all about. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we're gonna do a full. So every Thursday we do a full recap of everything. I know I might have threw a lot at you in the span of 35 minutes, but tomorrow we're gonna recap everything from Make It Move Monday to Top 5 Tuesday to today on Win-Trapreneur Wednesday. We'll break it all down to where you can go back and look at everything we discussed this entire week, and you will get better at starting conversations, teaching how to start conversations, providing scripts and making it so you're practicing those scripts, getting online, figuring out how you can develop a level of communication that's going to land your business into a place where you can properly articulate your thoughts, even when you may be under duress or under some great stress and things like that. So all that being said, again, if you are interested in employee development workshop and you want me to provide these lessons for your employees, it is makeyourmove.com. That is makeyaMove.com. Your one-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As Warren Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.